Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Muzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. President EDGAR LUNGU directs police to enforce health guidelines amid political rallies. Police cancel UPND KITWE political campaign launch rally. Join me with the Midday News in detail after this commercial.
LUNGU and the PF have facilitated the expansion of Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital, which now boasts an increased bed capacity of 850 from 150 in 2011. Vote for EDGAR LUNGU and the PF that have brought you change.
And now the media news in detail. President EDGAR LUNGU has directed the Zambia Police and the Ministry of Health to enforce the COVID-19 guideline without fear or favor. President LUNGU says the Patriotic Front will not conduct political rallies as it asks for votes from the Zambian people. The president says he expects other political parties to follow suit as it is immoral to put people's lives at risk contracting COVID-19 just because of elections. The head of state said this in Lusaka Wednesday morning during the launch of the Patriotic Front national campaign ahead of the elections in August. And President LUNGU says the PF government has worked and is proud of its records.
President EDGAR LUNGU has officially launched the Patriotic Front national campaign ahead of the August general elections. Escorted by thousands of supporters who came to witness the official launch at Mulungushi Conference Center in Lusaka, the president has made assurance that the ruling party will conduct issue-based campaigns and that it will not hold public rallies. The president has since instructed the Zambian Police and Ministry of Health to ensure COVID-19 guidelines are followed without fear or favor.
Police in India of a certain number of COVID-19 cases and loss of lives has been reported and attributed to political rallies which were taking place there. And we must surely learn from that. As the president, of course, I will not allow myself or any others to risk lives of our people at the expense of politics. Therefore, in my capacity as head of state government, I hereby direct the police and the Ministry of Health to ensure enforcement of the COVID-19 law.
The broadcast industry, which can be witnessed through increase in radio and television stations, and that government does not interfere with their operations.
Is remarkable. Especially when we consider that before we came into power, there were only 8 radio stations and 2 television stations. And somebody said freedom of the press and whatever, somebody said no, the freedom of space is diminishing. People say what they want to say. These television and radio stations, and they allow them. But if they break the law, they don't deal with them. That's the rule.
Meanwhile, President LUNGU also says the PF administration has upheld domestic tenant, good governance and inclusion development, and adds that the rule of law and separation of power have been the trademark of his leadership and this PF administration.
We're going to this country real change. My brothers are dreaming of bringing change. PF has worked very hard and delivered visible transformation everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen,
And President LUNGU also took time to appoint party members to aid campaigns in provinces, of which he has appointed PF National Chairperson Ongamo Kupa as National Presidential Campaign Manager, while former Kabwata Member of Parliament Given Lubinda has been appointed as Vice National Presidential Campaign Manager. Former Housing and Infrastructure Development Minister Vincent Mwale has been appointed as his campaign coordinator for Eastern Province, while former Kasama Member of Parliament Geoffrey Mwamba will coordinate presidential campaigns in Northern Province, and Justin Mulandu will coordinate activities in Central Province. Meanwhile, former Finance Minister Katele Kalumba has been appointed to coordinate presidential campaigns in Luapula Province, while Frank Ngambi will be in charge of the Copper Belt, among other people. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And in the same vein, National Democratic Congress NDC Faction Media Director Emmanuel Malite says it is unconstitutional for President Edgar Lungu to stop other political parties from holding public rallies. Mr. Malite says public rallies in a general election are a constitutional right for political parties to sell their manifestos. He says there is no statutory instrument that bans political parties, hence no need to inflict laws that disadvantage other political parties from campaigning fairly.
No SI as we stand that can bar political rallies because it's a constitutional right. And I wish to remind you, sir, that in whatever that you are doing, please, you are also a candidate. So what you are instructing to, if it's disadvantaging the other political players, you have a constitutional right, first of all, as a Republican president, to safeguard and to protect the constitution of the land. Public rallies in a by-election, in a general election, are a constitutional right for political parties to sell their manifesto. It happened, the COVID-19 has not started today in Zambia. I may wish to remember that, sir, when the COVID was at peak, even the United States were holding a general election. United States, with the all numbers that were drawing, they held public rallies, because public rallies, it's a constitutional right. You can instruct, advise your political party. If you feel you don't need rallies to sell yourself, you can tell them not to hold rallies. But to infringe it on the whole Zambian, all political players, sir, you are abusing your authority.
But the Advocates for National Development and Democracy has welcomed the decision to discourage political rallies. Speaking to Camnet TV Wednesday, Organization Executive Director Samuel Banda says politics should not endanger people's lives nor put the country at risk of the third wave of the COVID-19 outbreak. He has told the Electoral Commission of Zambia, based on sound analysis, advised political parties to avoid holding rallies as they are super spreader events. Mr. Banda has since advised political parties to instead focus on alternative means of campaigning, such as door-to-door campaigns, radio, television, print and social media.
We wish to urge political parties to place the health of the people first and avoid holding rallies during this campaign period to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Our profound advice to all the political parties is that they should comply to the public health guidelines set by Ministry of Health and the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We wish to advise political leaders to use alternative methods of campaigning, such as door-to-door campaigns, social media, radio, and television. We also wish to urge the police service to ensure that political parties should comply to the health guidelines set by the Ministry of Health. Those who want to push a campaign rallies don't mean well for the Zambian people. And we also wish to advise citizens to take responsibility to avoid gathering because of COVID-19.
In other news, the Zambia Police Service on the Copper Belt has cancelled an Opposition United Party for National Development UPND KITWE launch political rally on grounds that they never saw any notification from the party. Zambia Police spokesperson Esther Mwatakatongo had explained that the UPND did not officially communicate to the police over the rally, as they were only seeing it on social media. She says the police command on the Copper Belt has since asked the UPND to make a fresh appeal, but UPND Copper Belt Province Youth Information and Publicity Secretary in charge of media, Lazarus Sichimba, has denied the police argument, saying they had followed the due process as required. Mr. Sichimba says it is unfortunate that the police would claim that they never saw any notification from the party when in the actual sense they are the ones who even sanctioned the said. The UPND were due to officially launch their campaign for the August 2021 elections in KITWE on the Copper Belt province, but has since been asked to push it to the 6th of June 2021.
Unfortunately that the police UPND here in KITWE and on the Copper Belt in particular, that they can deny to say we never informed them that we want to hold a rally on Saturday. We are very much saddened by the development by the police. You know, the police should work professionally. We understand they are working under extremely pressure. But this issue of trying to hide in the name of to say they know the UPND never informed them on the issue of the police, you know, it's quite unfortunate. And we want to say this, that this country does not belong to only the PF. This country belongs to all of us as Zambians. And we are, as long as you are a stroke one citizen of this country, we are stakeholders of this country.
So I'm calling the Commissioner Copper Belt. What is on the ground is that when the UPND were setting their date, they had not notified the police.
Okay.
But when they were engaged yesterday by the higher office on the Copper Belt, the Commissioner's office, they were claiming to say that they had submitted their notification to the regulating officer in KITWE, to which the officer in charge of that particular station was saying that he didn't receive anything from them. So from the meeting which they had, they agreed that they should send in a fresh notification, because the one they are claiming they had forwarded to the police was not received by the police. The officer in charge didn't see it. So meaning that as police, we were not aware formally to say that the UPND were supposed to have that rally, apart from what we were seeing on social media.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Media News, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. President EDGAR LUNGU directs police to enforce health guidelines amid political rallies. Police cancel UPND KITWE political campaign launch rally. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Continue watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Good afternoon.